add your code for the solid color sidebar boxes with the Font Awesome icon. You're going to want to start with theme. We're going to hop over to theme, and we're going to do one thing before we start jumping in and pasting the code in. These icons are pulled from a website called Font Awesome. You can see there are a lot of awesome icons that you can choose from. They periodically update what's available, so you can see these different numbers for different updates that happen to the site. If your Georgia Lou Studios template is even a little bit older since the last update, whenever that was, you're not going to be able to pull all these. So if you have version 4.4 on your template and you want to pull this address book, it's not going to show up. It's a super easy fix. So you could, if you try to use an icon and it doesn't show up, you could switch to a different icon, but there are not a ton of educational icons. So I had to get pretty creative for these sidebar labels, and it's a super easy fix. So I think it's really worth it. So we're going to go over to Edit, and I'm going to press Command F and type in awesome because that's a unique word that's not going to be in your template a lot, and it'll make it easy to find. It's really close to the top of your template, and you can see this is version 4.3. So any icon from 4.4 and later would not show up. I'm just going to change the 3 to a 7 and save. And that was it. So it's really easy and it's worth it. Now I'm going to go back to Theme, Custom, Advanced, Add CSS. She's already got some code here, so I'm going to make some space. Go over to the tutorial and grab the code. Now she has that Font Awesome here if you don't have a Georgia Lou Studios blog template that you can paste into your template if your template doesn't already have Font Awesome icons on it. So I'm going to grab all this code. It's quite a bit of code. I'm going to come back over here, paste it in, and let's start from the top of the code. So this is all the styling. Let's go down and look at it. Now you'll see we have a problem, and that problem is that some of the label titles are too long. If you look at the tutorial version, you'll see that there's shorter labels, even photography fits. So they fit in there, but anything longer than that and your box gets bigger because now it's a 2-line title. There's a workaround for that. I had it on mine. It happened to me, but it only happened to me on one. I had this labeled professional books, so I decided to go in and title it PD books just to make it work. That doesn't really work for this one. There's nothing else that you could name mentor sentences that would make sense. So we're going to do a little workaround at the end. You may not have to. You may have all long titles or all short titles, but whatever. If you don't have boxes that are equal, do not leave it like this. It looks sloppy and it's going to be distracting to your reader. So let's go ahead and customize it first with colors. If you'll scroll down, you'll see everything is labeled for what it does. We're looking for background color. I want the background of the boxes to be navy. And I want the hover color to be pink. So I've copied that code, and where it says background hover color, I've put that in. So now when people hover over these labels, it's going to turn hot pink. You don't see it in the preview, but it will. Now we have to customize the icons. This code is set up for a pattern of 6 icons. Do you see how they repeated down here? There are 8. That's fine. We can add it on. If you have 4 border boxes for your labels, then you can delete the extras. But we need 2 more. So I'm going to copy the last 2. Paste it in. And name it 7th icon and change this to a 7. This says it's the 7th one. This says it's a pattern of 6, but since we're not going to need the pattern, I'm not even going to change it. 8th icon, and I'm going to change this to number 8. So now I can go in and put the little bit in right here. See where it says content for each one. I get that from the Font Awesome site. This is the cheat sheet site. I went ahead on a sheet of paper, wrote down all of her icons. I spent time looking through, selecting an icon for each and what you need. So my first one is calculator. You need this from the F over. This is the little piece of information you need to put into the content to tell the website what icon to pull. So this is F1 EC. So I'm going to go to first icon, name it F1 EC, and now I have a calculator. So I've got these written down so I can quickly change them. F175. Now this fourth icon for poetry, I kind of had a hard time with this one, so I picked a leaf. I don't know, poetry's kind of a lot of natural poetry, and it's kind of flowy. If I had not updated the template, this is from version 4.7, this leaf would not have shown up. There would have been just an outline of a square. For the fifth one, picked a book. Let's see, FOC3. Got a beaker. Then we've got a globe for social studies and a pencil for writing. Okay, so I've got my icons in. If yours are sized nicely, then you're done. Hit apply to blog, move on with your life. But we've got another step. We're going to scroll back up to the styling. And in the first section, this line tells the boxes what to do with their width. So this is telling the boxes, that's how they're two side by side, that their box border width should be 50% of that area. And they put -5 pixels in there because if it was just 50%, then they'd run into each other. But that -5 pixels gives it some space in between. I'm going to change this to 100%. So this tells my boxes to go all the way across. So now I don't have two side by side, but I still have my border boxes with the label, title, and the little graphic. They kind of take up a lot of room with all this spacing, but I can edit that. If you scroll down, you'll find white space between links. I can change that. Right now it's 5 pixels of extra space in there. I can take that down to 2. I can even take it to a negative number. So that fits better. I'm going to hit apply to blog, and then I'm going to show you something that happened to me and I kind of panicked. So here are what the labels looked like before. If I hit refresh, oh, it didn't happen this time. The first time I changed it from 4.7 to 4.3, when I hit refresh, it didn't really pick up on it. So I just had to close the site out, open it in a fresh window, and everything was fine from then on. But you can see I hover over and it changes pink and everything's good to go. This is going to catch your reader's eye. You really don't want more than 8 because that's going to be a lot of space on the sidebar going to that. And after a little bit of scrolling, your reader's going to zone out. So you really want to make sure what's on your sidebar is important to them.